Hello.
You can come in. She's nice. She'll just sit for a second. She's very nice.
All right.
Off. See, there you go. See? You can be nice. Hi.
Hello.
Lily, off.
You Grayson or
Yes. I'm
okay.
Grayson.
Okay, so how can I help you today?
I'm gonna get my boss.
Oh, Sheree, I need to run some.
Hello.
Thank you for coming,
Yeah.
officer. Where do we start?
Yeah. So she's a public figure online,
Okay.
and we have people threatening to extort her. This started in April. They started with public threats. We have pretty good, solid proof that former employers had hacked her iCloud account,
Okay.
and then posted stuff online that they were gonna go public with her messages, and then
Private messages.
Yeah, and then things settled down, and then the last couple weeks things have been ramping up again. We've got somebody sent us an email today that was sent out.
This has gone as far as Newsnation and Law and Crime. So I'm a true crime reporter.
Okay.
And like Law and Crime and even News Nation are
Okay.
reaching out about my private messages. So this is like national, and I think why it's an extra big concern. It's actually not just about me, as you know, as a police officer. True crime is true. It's real. People forget that. There are. I'm an investigative journalist.
Okay.
I have been to numerous trials. I work with numerous victims.
Mhm.
And if these private messages of mine come out between employees, it won't just be me that's harmed.
Mhm.
It's going to be a lot of people
Okay.
that is harmed. And we have private emails that have now come from a Proton email saying true crime, more like true lies. We know you've been talking about all these people to name all these victims that are nationally known victims. Like we were just at the Gabby Petito Foundation dinner. Like we work with numerous high profile victims of crime. Like, and again, these are, I share off the record conversations with them. You know, like things that like people
Off the record conversations with who when you say them?
the ex-employees.
Okay.
Because they're my employees, and I'm like, hey, I learned this information. I'm gonna go forward with this. We can't say this.
Did you have an NDA with them?
I did not.
There's the big challenge right there.
They posted threats online, threatening to release her public stuff, her private stuff.
And we have sent
Well, I'd have to
from a reporter.
I'd have to see what those are.
Yeah.
Do you have a lawyer already?
I have a lawyer that is my brother. He sent cease and desist, and someone wrote back saying, "Okay, dear Lawrence brother." I mean, he's a good lawyer, you know, so that's why I use him. But you know, they. But yeah, he sent cease and desist and said these are very private. And he cited case law and laws. And I have those, the cease and desist sent, and
Cited the computer fraud for hacking your.
Well, did you share your password with employees so they could do things under your premise, like in your absence? You says, "Here's my password. Go ahead and."
I sent them some passwords, but then the employment terminated.
Okay.
And I changed what I thought were all my passwords, and I am concerned that I had given them. I did not ever give them permission to get in an iCloud whatsoever.
Okay.
And the employment had terminated, and I actually think they went and figured out how to get into it.
Okay.
So that was never a permission.
I'm not a big IT person, so I mean, how they could hack it, because Apple's one of the hardest things to hack. So it would have to be. I'm leaning more to the point of a shared password that wasn't changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when were they terminated? Did you have a termination letter, or what'd you have?
Yeah, I have termination letters.
But you don't know who's. So it sounds like there's more than one
There's
There's more than one person that could be doing
there's
this.
multiple people involved. The people I've talked to have been saying names of who's involved, and they are telling me you need to be prepared for this to go public. They want her head on a platter. They want to destroy her.
Okay.
Like, these people are. I have the first threat here, and I have the email that we got
So what's the threat? What's the words of the threat?
This one was public service announcement. So for context, she had a private relationship with another person who works for her this day, and just that she was really upset about the falling out and how this ended, the employment stuff ended. And 2 hours later, this goes on social media. Public service announcement. You better quit lying in private before the truth gets told in public. I'm not sure if you're suffering from delusions or amnesia, but you're trying to play with OG crash outs. We don't mind exposing what needs to be exposed. Didn't at you as a courtesy, but don't mistake that for hesitation. They put that in a public forum.
Okay.
And then at first,
take a screenshot of that if you can.
Oh, I have it.
Okay.
At first, I told her, I'm not sure that this is what you think it is. Like, this could just be coincidence. And then...
Or an idle, a threat in a sense of, oh, we have stuff on you, but maybe they don't.
Right. Well, and I was like, how would they have... But how would they have gotten that message?
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. Hey, I'm going to call for service right now. Are you going to be in that area for a little while, or? You got a particular location you got to visit? Okay, I'll see if I can get off. I'll text you when I get done with this call for service and see if you're still in the area then. All right, thanks a lot, man.
So, when they posted this, they said, I'm not sure, but I started digging. By that point, you had lost access to your emails. That we thought was really strange. We're like, that's weird. You've lost access to your emails. I was able to recover those and locked everything down. Could tell that things had been messed with.
Okay.
And then we went to a trial that we were reporting at 2 weeks later, and somebody came up to you and said, all your messages are everywhere. People have them.
And they're horrible.
And so that's when we...
And other people
did they say specific though? Because to say there's a lot of them out there that's not specific, that's just I'm just trying to say that somebody truly saw, or they're saying that they saw.
We received some of the messages that are out there.
You received the messages that somebody else
screenshots of my private messages from a person that shouldn't have had them.
Okay.
And exactly what I thought. This person was hurt by things said about her in private.
Okay.
I apologize, but again, like I said, people just think this is a fun game for them, and like there's one person who volunteered for me, for example. I'm just using an example. I learned is suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the scenes, as she's volunteering for me, behind the scenes, people are complaining. My employees are complaining about this person. Mm-hmm. I'm like, look, I know, she's annoying, but just deal with it.
Yeah.
If she gets this, you know what I mean? This is to me, I'm like, and I know you guys deal with this every day. People are assholes, but she could self-harm. Do you know what I mean? This is so upsetting on so many levels. Not just oh, woe is me.
Right.
I care about all these.
I get it.
People.
I get it. But my job is to decipher if there's a criminal act or not.
Correct. Okay.
So there's a lot of crummy people out there that are horrible to other people. Whether it's child against a parent, parent against a child, saying ugly things, saying many ugly things, which is despicable, but it's not against the law.
Sure.
So that's what I need to do is decipher if a crime has been committed, and then what route we would go down to trying to prove that.
Yeah, correct.
Because cybercrime is it's a whole different challenge and stuff.
So I agree.
And
I hear what you're saying.
If they're not asking for money, it's hard to say that there's extortion there. Okay. So, or asking for something in return. That's hard to say that there's extortion because, if you look at just the political arena, people have dirt on people, have dirt on people, have dirt on people.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to let this out if, you don't do this for me. Sure. That would be extortion, sure. But if for being vindictive or saying, I know you're not telling the truth, so unless you tell the truth, I'm going to let this out. That's not really for money or personal gain. That's just saying, hey, I'm going to out you. Right? So the crime in that is, there's no real crime. So then it comes down to you did share passwords with persons. So it would be when were these conversations or when were these emails compared to did they forward themselves the emails or copy the emails 10 weeks ago compared to they were fired 2 weeks ago and got in there and got them within the last 2 weeks. I mean, if there was something that you could say, yes, this is a conversation I had 2 weeks ago, nobody knew about it prior, and all of a sudden now they know about it, then it's like, okay, well, they shouldn't know about it because you changed your passwords, and we can cut the date off at this. 10 weeks ago was a conversation compared to 2 weeks ago was a conversation. These people were let go 4 weeks ago, so there's no way they should have known this stuff, you know? Because that's where the NDAs come in hugely, huge. NDAs are lifesavers for people like you.
Yeah.
So, and
She's
celebrities, Hollywood, you know, all that stuff.
She signed one with her lesson. Unfortunately, they were my employees. Well, I probably wasn't considered a public figure, and then I got.
You trusted
bigger
them,
and
and unfortunately, I mean, I've had a small business, so I get it.
Yeah.
It's they're great until they're not.
Right, and then it sucks, and then now that I'm a public figure, and there are other people that could be really hurt by this. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the other people to be hurt, then they would be the victims, though, not you. So I understand that you're feeling for them and you don't want them to be hurt. I understand that. But at that point, if they are hurt, that would be them going after persons based on them being the victim of whatever that is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. June 9th was the second one. I found it. We had an email sent to us from Proton, which I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Double encryption. The email was, if you only knew 111, the subject was the truth will come out. Hidden true crime, more like hidden true lies. All of it will come to light. Your trash talking Kay Woodcock, Heather Daybell, Gigi, Justin Lund, Navy, and Ashley Banfield, Susan Henderson, Rob Wood, Rachel Smith, and Ray Hermes. All of them are BCC'd on this email. Your text messages will prove it.
Okay.
Like, they have her text messages. They have things.
But they haven't sent them out, though.
They have. We just haven't. People are calling me saying I have them. I've gotten files.
So you've seen the text messages.
I've seen
Did they say where they got them from?
We know some. I know.
We could give you people who do know where they came from. So we called someone today.
So they would have to.
That's the person who said News Nation has reached out, Long Crime has reached out, and she said
they would have to be willing to work with us to help us find that. So that's the challenge as well.
This person
because news people, they're like, we don't want to reveal our sources.
I think this person.
So that's the big challenge too.
I think she would.
I think she would, and I explained to her. I said,
Then is this going to be considered slander? Have you talked to your brother about slander?
we've talked about everything. I mean, I called him this morning. I had a meeting with him this morning when I started realizing how this kind of happened this morning. Is I've been working behind the scenes for a few days trying to figure out what happened. And I get on a call with somebody this morning, and somebody said, "Is Stephanie a former employee of Lauren's?" And I said, "Yeah." Like, I didn't know this person knew who that was. And this person tells me, "Okay, well, I was told I should call Stephanie, and she'll give me everything. She has all those screenshots. She's the one with everything."
Okay.
And Stephanie was sent to cease and desist. We knew she was one of the ones that was doing all this behind the scenes.
But then you'd have to prove that she shared after the fact.
Let's specify this. I think that somebody could tell you. I do think Gigi respects police,
Yeah.
and if she knew that police were calling, I think that she might share the sources.
Yeah.
She wouldn't
Okay.
share it with us.
Okay.
I do think, and she's the one who said that she had heard from Law and Crime and News Nation.
Okay, and so once again, hearing it and seeing it are two different things.
She said
Because then
they're
it's
calling her.
She
Then
said
it's-
she'd received voice
hang
messages.
on.
Okay.
Because then it becomes hearsay. So because they're calling her doesn't mean she has the information. So she has to be directly connected with the person. So a person goes to Newsweek or whatever, Newsweek comes back down, that's not from her. That's through completely different sources. It has to be direct.
She did
So
say she
she
has files
said
and everything.
she has files and files of emails and texts, including voice memos.
But where'd she get them from?
That's where you come in. We don't know.
Well, I thought you asked her.
We asked her and she wouldn't tell us her source, so I think she would tell you. But that was the question. Like you said, would they tell?
Yeah.
You don't have to call if you don't want to, but I'm just...
No. I mean, if she's not going to share with you, then I don't know why she would share with me because she doesn't have to. I'm guessing she's in the industry, right?
She's in the industry, yeah.
So once she ruins her reputation by giving up sources, then what's her job going to be?
I think...
I mean, I could have a conversation with her.
I hear you.
So that's the challenge of being in this kind of
Yeah, I hear
situation.
you. So I was also in the real news for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of understand more how it works. She's an excellent journalist. She's a great journalist. She has not been in the real news, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I believe that if police called her, she might say that I received it from this person.
Okay.
But you know, I hear you, and I respect that. Like journalists wouldn't share, and she might not, but I think she might.
Okay. Control 3 out of 1. I'm with PR. Go 4.
When I talked to her today, she told me.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe we don't want to. I mean, do we want to make this?
Have you talked? Has your brother suggested calling us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you could call my brother.
And what did he feel? What crimes did he feel that were surpassed? I should say.
It was cease and desist, he said,
Because some of that stuff is more civil than it is criminal.
Yeah, so he cited.
Extortion would be criminal, but other things within this could be more on a civil level than a criminal level.
Yeah, and forgive me, I'm getting some water.
That's fine. Do you have an identification or a driver's license I can just jot down quick? Do you got a Nevada driver's license or from another state?
I have a Nevada driver's license.
Okay.
Here's the cease and desist he sent Stephanie. Unauthorized access of private accounts. Dissemination of private.
But we don't know that she did that after the fact or before. If she took all this information before the cease and desist. And here's the thing. I'm not saying it's possible one way or the other. What I'm saying is anything that I would have that may be criminal would go before a judge or actually before a district attorney. Then the district attorney would have to look at it and say, yes, I think we have enough information to go forward into court. So in a sense, I almost act like a judge in a sense, being like, what do I have? Because if I don't have nothing, or if I have questionable information, or a third party is telling me this information by hearsay, I don't have nothing. I work on facts. That's what we do as police officers. We're supposed to.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
So that's
I hear you.
so yeah, the information prior compared to the information after, that's where the NDA would have saved a lot of headaches. But the cease and desist, there would have to be proof of her continuing this process after the fact.
Right.
So that would be like contacting all these people that have this information and saying, who did you get it from? And them saying it was from her, and then say, when did you get it from her?
I'm sitting down to look for information, not to. Should we call John? I think the other concern too is they might have even just like text between my husband and myself. From what it sounds like.
I'm sorry, say it again?
They might have text just between my husband and myself.
Okay.
He's my co-host. He's a criminal psychologist.
Okay.
And I hear you. You go by facts. I understand that, and a lot of this is in the works, right? So like, it's right.
Exactly.
I'm sharing. So we get it. We're sharing circumstantial evidence with you that could later become a fact. But I hear you. You need facts.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure this out. So thank you. So we get it. I'm a journalist. I work by facts too. And I know which all journalists should. Yeah, and I understand what circumstantial evidence is.
I'm going to put this on.
Figuring out. Let me call my husband. So he spoke. Oh, he's with Bain. So I think you could speak briefly.
What's your phone number real quick, since you're the victim?
I don't know if you know the Lori Vallow Daybell case. Do you know?
No, I like watching To Catch a Smuggler and stuff like that. And
okay, well, it's a Netflix.
the cops, bad boys, and so.
Yeah, it's
the other stuff interests me. It's just I don't have the time to sit down and.
Right. Well, that's this case that's really impacted that we were covering. She's a mom who killed her 2 kids and her husband and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very viral true crime case. That's what we've been
has
covering.
a Netflix documentary to it. Dateline, 7 Datelines.
Yeah.
My husband spoke to the. Well, I don't want to get him involved. Again, I don't want to get a victim involved right now. So.
Okay. Real quick, what'd you say your friend's name is then, and the phone number that may talk to us?
Gigi.
Proper
Her name
name?
is Jennifer McKelvey.
I don't know if she'd consider us a friend right now.
How do you spell her last name?
McKelvey. And she told me on the phone today, well, if you think this is against the law, then you should be getting law enforcement involved. And I said, we've had attorneys involved in this for months. So she's well aware.
Right. So she said.
Well, and the attorney's going to be like, yes, I can see where this is breaking this law, so now we'll get him involved.
Full disclosure, she's received a lot of info because a lot of the private text messages have to do with her.
Okay.
So that's why I say I don't know if she'd consider me a friend right now.
Nope. Somebody that's willing to talk. What's the phone number? And she lives in what state?
Louisiana?
Louisiana. I'm calling my husband on the phone right now just so he can understand.
So
My
what?
husband's done a lot of work.
So it sounds like there's a lot of emotional stuff and you're very upsetting stuff. I get it. So what area do you feel? Because right now, I hate to say it, but from my point of view, and I'm going to call my sergeant and probably get a detective involved, at least for the initial information.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm not seeing a crime, but this isn't my forte either.
Sure. Your call has been forwarded. That was my husband, by the way, I was trying to call. My husband does criminal assessments here in the state of Nevada. So he's licensed here in Nevada and Utah.
Because people say a lot of crummy things about other people online and stuff,
Yeah.
and then when it comes to threats and harassments, there has to be very specific threat / harassment is a series of things for the most part. A threat is got to be very specific, and it really stinks for us as police officers, but it's even worse for the victim or the person that's being victimized. And the reason I say that is somebody could say, "I'm going to come over, and make sure I take care of you." What does that mean?
Right.
Depends on what happened prior, right? We can document that kind of stuff, but does it mean they're going to come over and wash your car? Does it mean to come over and cook your food, tuck you into bed, or come over and, beat you up? It's not specific. It just says, I'm going to come over and take care of you. So that's where it's frustrating for victims, is they're like, but I know what they meant by this. And it's like, I understand you're feeling this way, but based on the verbiage, we can't go down the criminal route right now because they're not being specific enough. Yeah. And it really stinks because they look at us like, why aren't you doing anything? It's not. It's like, my hands are tied because the Nevada law doesn't, go down that road.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I hear you. And like I said, there's probably going to be a lot more coming out in the next few days, so I don't know if there can be like a case number to you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I think you're right. We're working with some circumstantial evidence, but we're receiving new information every hour. Mm-hmm. So it could be that we're finally working with some not circumstantial evidence. Let me also talk to you about this. Let's, and this is me thinking as a whole about everybody involved. Do we want them to call Gigi right now? Could that escalate things?
It makes me wonder if they will go public right now, just because it's like, let's just get it off our plate.
Yeah. And again, I am the victim, but there will be other victims.
There'll be other people that'll be victims the second
Correct.
time, yeah.
Yes.
It's like when they go to court and they let a killer free or something like that, or let them off with 2 years.
Correct.
Then they get victimized a second time.
Correct. This is my husband. I just let him
both by the suspect and by the state.
Correct. Hey, baby, are you there?
That's where it's like, I don't know if it's worth it.
We have a police officer here.
Sometimes there's that case like neighbors,
right.
problems with neighbors. Sometimes they don't want us to contact the neighbor because they're afraid it'll inflame things.
Right. So he's understanding. I just want you to know. At first, we were like, we just gave him what we've explained right now is like, look, I am the victim, but we have a big concern about the actual victims in the cases we cover, and then being re-victimized by my private messages that come out. So at first, I just want you to know, and he understands that. This is officer. What was your last name? I'm sorry.
Bolvie.
He's great, and and we're working with circumstantial evidence right now. We know that. He understands, again, that we don't want to re-victimize any victims. So at first we're like, well, we know who you could figure out the source from and has all the information. We said Gigi McKelvey, who wouldn't consider me a friend right now, but she had the information, and so he was going to call her, and now I'm rethinking because I think that could put fuel on the fire. I'm just thinking about protecting everyone else. Do we want him to, I don't know if we should have him call Gigi right now or not. He wants to know because I don't want to hurt. Like, would that make them release stuff now because they just want to get it over? They're angry, right? Is this the Streisand effect where,
What if I want So, can you hear me?
He can hear you or you're on.
Okay. The most important thing is we're about to have, all our hard work is about to be threatened or go down the drain in a minute, in an instant, right? Like, my goal is to get them to stop publishing private emails, text, voicemails, right? They hacked into our stuff. It's illegal by Nevada statute and federal law for them to share private information without our consent. We never gave consent. So if calling her is going to prevent them or stop them from publishing, then it's probably worth it.
But if it's not, she's not going to be the one that publishes it. So
But it'll get back to the source though, and also, can he call like Stephanie Budge?
Well, let's say he calls. Let's say he calls and he says there's no law that's broken right now, as she asks. Does that empower them?
Well, but they know. I'm sure the officer knows the Nevada statutes. Nevada's a two-party consent state. You can't just share private stuff without consent. You never gave consent.
Here's where
it's terrifying. It's terrifying to me that and it should be terrifying to like every citizen in Nevada that somebody can just take your private correspondence and put it on blast publicly.
So this is not my exact forte, right? I'm a patrol officer. I already said that I talked to my sergeant about this, and if we have to get a detective involved, we will. At the same time, though, there was no non-disclosure agreement. So if she gave passwords to employees to do business on her behalf, then there's kind of a gray area of how public is it compared to private.
I never gave.
Or part of the business doings per se.
I never gave. Sorry, I don't know what that sound is. I never gave permission for any iCloud access or any phone access, which is what I think they. Yeah, or Gmail accounts. Actually, you're right.
There's no consent here. There's no consent to share any private information, and this person never had access to any private information.
But what? Okay, so for right now, as far as we know, so here's my challenge. So there's somebody, you guys have an idea of who this person is, and we're finding out through third parties that some information was already shared because you have screenshots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So those third party people would have to be willing to talk to us to give up their source to say yes, it came straight from this person. And if they're investigative reporters, I don't know how many investigative reporters are going to want to give up their sources because that's going to tarnish their reputation. So if we had a way to figure that out without them, I mean, not saying we can't call them, but if there was a way to figure that out without them, then that'd be more beneficial for sure. That's why I says this isn't my forte, so I'm not sure. If anybody, it would have to be a special detective that works with computer crimes.
And what about the harassment aspect too? I want to point out the harassment aspect because again, we're getting these cryptic Proton emails saying you're about. We've blind copied all these people, even though you blind copy people so that people don't know you blind copied them, and they're like, we blind copied everyone. We're doing this. We are outing you.
Yeah, there's
like multiple emails like that. Also, I feel like lies in like harassment. Like, why are they doing that? Like, this is like a game to them. This is, you know what I mean? Like they are.
Like I said, there's a lot of ugly people that do stupid things, and they're mean people that bully people and stuff like that. It doesn't mean it's a crime.
Right.
So I get what you're saying with the possibility of doing this. And even the blind copy, not knowing who those people are, if there are people, it's that's what we don't know right now.
One of them is another person that I work with.
Is extortion a crime? Because I mean, they're basically.
Extortion would be them asking for something. Did they ask for money or anything?
I haven't seen that. You just kicked that email out today. What are they threatening? Well, they're threatening our livelihood.
That's a bit gray. I don't know about that. They're just saying to put out information. So I'll tell you what. I'll talk to my sergeant right now with what I have, and we'll see if I'll see. They'll probably end up getting in touch with our cyber detective and see how this might play out.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I know, officer, like, by the way, just as an aside, I've worked, not in the last few years, but I've worked closely with I have in the past, your internet sex crimes,
Uh huh.
and I've done a lot of evaluations on sex offenders that got put away. Obviously, that's a very different crime, but I just want to say that, I've always appreciated Metro and worked closely with you guys. Thank you for listening to us. Yeah, I think the problem here is, Ryan, I know technically, since they haven't published this stuff, it's kind of hard to say it's a crime. But on the other hand, according to Gigi, they're minutes away from publishing this stuff. So, we're trying to salvage our reputation, but
Well, not just our reputation, but
Trying to be
the
you're trying to be
victims.
proactive. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. And yeah, it is a little confusing. Technically, after the damage is done, yeah, you've got federal crimes and you've got state crimes, right? But and maybe they're just playing a game. Maybe they're not going to publish. I mean, unfortunately, we have sources that have said that they've seen some of the emails and they know they're coming. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. We took this, right?
My concern is the whole text of these will be shown by your text messages. They're very clear that they are releasing your text messages, and the fact that they were in your iCloud account, which is cited.
I've never given them a password to my iCloud.
And you've seen a direct copy of a particular text then?
I've seen somebody show me one in person. Yeah, I've seen things.
Or do you have it sent to you right now? One that you know for a fact is from your iCloud account?
Do we have one from Christina?
Did you get it?
Because here's what we usually do. We go by the screenshots showing the proof of, and I mean, it's kind of like a financial crime in a sense. We need all this documentation, the bank account records and all that other stuff, So having all this stuff, you can talk about it, you can say I saw it, but without the proof, once again, there's not a lot to go off of, or nothing to go off of. So the proof is what we need.
I think if he calls Gigi, I think if somebody official with law enforcement calls Gigi and says, we're aware of the fact that you believe that you've seen texts that are private correspondence.
These ones aren't iCloud, but these are her private messages that have been sent around and were emailed to us.
If you call Gigi and say, look,
I understand.
if you call Gigi and say, we have information.
They're crossing out names of who's in it.
Wait.
November
John's-
23rd, okay.
Wait, hold on, John. There's two people talking. Hold on. Okay, go ahead, John.
We have information that you've seen private texts that have been shared with you from Lauren's iCloud account, which, by the way, is a crime. That's illegal. It's a federal crime because we're going across state lines. You can't share private information.
Well, I don't enforce federal crime either, so the FBI would probably have to get involved with this.
Right, I agree. There's actually two federal crimes here. But, yes, I know the FBI might have to jump in.
Because this may be more FBI than local.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
We all agree with that. But my biggest concern though, John, is if Henderson police calls, because this isn't their jurisdiction, they're not federal, and they say to Gigi, we don't know if there's a crime that's been committed, if she asks.
This goes further.
Then it goes further. And if if he's still trying to figure that out, he can't say there's been a crime that's been committed if he's still.
Have you submitted anything to the FBI at all yet?
No,
We made a police report in
Arizona in April when this first started.
Yeah.
And what'd they say?
They listened and took a record and said, would you want to press charges?
And we said yes, and we didn't hear back, and then things kind of died down, so we thought everything was done.
Have you contacted them recently? Because here's the thing, if this started when you guys were in Arizona, and you already gave a police report, doing a multiple 2 times, 3 times police report still makes sense. And now it feels like that's what I'm kind of doing.
Okay. The reason I called you was because we live here. We were in Arizona on a business trip.
Okay.
And so that was why I got them involved while we were there, because I was worried about her safety. She had somebody physically coming out threatening her at the courthouse.
Okay.
Yeah, bailiffs had to say, leave her alone.
Okay.
I was concerned.
Did you call? Yeah, that's completely different. Did you call Arizona and try to find an update on? So what was reported down there? Was this reported down there, or just the situation that at Arizona?
The beginning of this was reported in Arizona, and
But Grayson, it's a different crime. That was somebody's basically stalking and threatening
yeah.
you physically.
Okay, we'll keep that out of it then.
Yeah, this is an internet crime. That was somebody who was harassing Lauren and threatening to harm her physically.
Okay.
This is
Let me talk to my sergeant. Probably talk to our cyber guy, and go from there. I'm not going to try to call Gigi.
I know. Do you see my concern with it?
Yeah. No, 100%. While you were on the phone, we have that a lot with like neighbors across the street, next door, apartments,
Right,
whatever.
like,
Where
this will
like,
backfire.
hey, I just want it documented. I don't want you to go talk to him because I'm afraid it'll escalate. I want it
Correct.
documented. So a lot of people do that as well. So based on your concerns, I will not make a phone call to her.
Okay.
Not at all. Let me talk to my sergeant and see kind of what direction we're at right now. Because right now, all I got is somebody saying they're going to do something and haven't yet. And your lawyer sent out a cease and desist to that person. Right?
3 people.
That person may or may not have shared information to other news sources per se.
Correct.
And the reason I say may or may not have is because they would have to tell me it came from that particular person. And then we got a text message, copies of text messages from 2023, which
And I want to point
that
out
are being
that
sent
the,
out.
the
So there was a
text
copy of a text message, screenshots of a text message that is being sent out. And who'd you get that from?
You know, that's an interesting person because that's somebody that we hired to do contract work with, and then they cut doing contract work with us because they were sent that. So it's also like that's someone that like stopped working for us because it was sent. So this is someone like trying to physically hurt our business.
So that might not be from your iCloud account. That could be from the other person then.
They were sent it by the person that we've been telling you about. They said that. They told her directly, Stephanie sent this to me. And she said, I don't know why.
But we don't know where Stephanie got it from.
I don't know. She's in that. That was between.
And that's the other thing too. We'd have to try to prove that Stephanie had access to the iCloud and got into it, and broke into it.
Yeah.
Or happen to know your contractor who took screenshots of it because it's on their phone too, and they took the screenshots and sent it to her.
So I think the best case, we're all here. If you could talk to your cyber unit, is that what you feel is best right now, officer?
That's all I can do because right now it's very, very loose stuff, extremely loose stuff. I understand the concern, and I know the concern is real, 100%. I'm not trying to downplay
Right,
that.
lives to be blown up.
But
Very
just
blown
like
up.
I mentioned earlier, when somebody says, I'm going to come over and take care of you, what does that mean? So there is real fear, concerns, and other things in person's minds when certain things happen and they understand from their point of view what could or could not happen. The fact that it hasn't happened yet is good, but that would like pass that. But yeah, there's a lot of work that would have to go into if and when that took place, being the crime and then tracing it back to the actual person that did it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just I'm not the one that's
Are
going to
we
be able to
good?
figure it out.
Is everybody good? John, are we good?
I have problems with my iPhone. Come on now.
unfortunately, this is sort of like so.
And yeah, internet crimes and stuff too. The FBI, I think it'd be good to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the update is probably who we need here. I mean, it's one of those situations where like I would do groups for convicted felons, and sometimes a sex offender would say, well, I'm thinking about offending again on so and so, or like they'd be vague, I'm thinking about offending, and we would know who it was, right? Like we would know what they wouldn't say the person, but like we would have an idea based on their history of who they were talking about, and like, is that reportable, right? Like, I mean, obviously I don't want someone to get harmed, right? But like, they haven't committed a crime, but there's like a specific credible threat. I don't know. It's a hard area.
It is, and I mentioned this earlier before you were on the phone. It's difficult because sometimes until that line is crossed, it's just an idle. When I say idle threat, it's not a criminal threat. It's just a threat of doing something, and until it happens, there's not a lot you can do. Sometimes depends on what it is. So just because people have certain thoughts of, I would like to go steal a car. I think that would be fun. We're not going to go to somebody's house because they're planning on stealing a car.
Right. I guess, like, in this case, well, I know. I think there's a specific credible threat, but I don't know, like, yeah, technically, until they publish the stuff and cross the line, like, it's hard to know what to do. I mean, I guess we're going to...
Well, that's where the cease and desist from the lawyer is huge, because then they can contact the lawyer, know that the lawyer is real. Lawyer can utilize certain federal laws, certain state laws in that, saying, if you do this, this is a law you'll be breaking, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's educating the other party and makes them be like, oh, man, that's not a good idea.
Well, unfortunately, one of the other parties, her husband, works for the FBI, so he apparently doesn't seem to think this is a big deal.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if they've talked. They didn't have the best marriage, so let's be honest. We don't know.
I don't know what's been said, but I looked it up. The statute on these things it depends on how bad it is, but it's at least 5 years in prison. It's a felony. So, I mean, it is serious, and it's obviously there's civil issues in terms of if they ruin our business, which they would think our business would think.
Yeah, I brought up civil earlier.
Oh, 9? Okay. So, and obviously it's going to be multiple counts. If it's here like 10 items, it's potentially 10 counts. So, I don't know. Like, it's frustrating.
I get it.
Right? It's frustrating because obviously our best case scenario here is to stop this or stop anything from being published.
Yep.
Hey, so I think I feel good where I am, John. Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, so you don't think you should call Gigi?
Well, I think we have the concern. He can't say right now that there was a crime committed. So if she asks, he has to say, "I don't know," and then that gives him power.
I mean, it could be. This could just be an intimidation campaign, right? Like to scare us. I mean, that's true. Like it could just be like we're gonna ruin your reputation without publishing a thing because we're implying or we're inferring that you're immoral or whatever the hell they're implying. You're not supportive of people you should be. So I mean, it could just be intimidation, but is there any way could we get a referral to the FBI? Is there someone at the FBI we can contact?
Yeah, you'd have to just contact the FBI office itself. I think you can do an online report, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how soon you'd be contacted by anybody because it goes into their big system. I would say the local FBI, I think, is downtown near the detention center or the courthouse or something. You could go straight down there and talk to a desk officer or something and say, hey, we want to talk to somebody about a situation we have.
Is that right by CCDC?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I've never had to go in there, but
Yeah, I'll go. I almost actually I had a meeting with them when I was concerned about that one crime we were covering, John.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And I had an appointment with them, and I just was unable to go because we went out of town. But I can figure it out.
We had some people threatening us. So, I mean, what's their offices? They probably close at what, 5?
Yeah, we can work it out, John. We're standing here with an officer. Can we call you later?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go talk to my sarge and see what he thinks, because this is very unique. It's not something we go to, not even on a monthly basis. Maybe once a year kind of thing. And then you got multiple officers with beginning of the week, end of the week, days, swings, graves. So, I mean, for me, this is my first time in 5 years that I've dealt with something like this. So, but that's why we have the people available that have a little bit more experience. If he has to bring it up to the lieutenant, they'll talk to the lieutenant, and then kind of go from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do we need to give you any more of like the emails, the double encrypted emails, or the?
I wouldn't say right now. The big challenge is because you're getting these from other news sources.
The email was sent. You were in that Facebook group where that threat came from, so you pulled that.
Yeah, no, that was that.
And
threat
the email was sent to us.
That threat was written by my ex-employee, and it's her name on it.
It's from her email source, that kind of stuff.
No, it's from her direct social media account.
Okay, social media.
Yeah.
And what did that one say?
That was the one. If you talk in private, we'll expose you in public. Didn't act you as a courtesy.
That was my ex-employee.
That was 2 hours after she had a private text conversation with somebody else about the falling out with these employees, explaining some anger. So that's why at first I said, I don't think these are related.
No, I got it. I just need specifics for my sergeant. So that's one thing. But those text messages that you have are from the copies of text messages?
Yeah, those were sent in April from somebody else, from a friend of mine, who sent them, who got mad at her, and sent them from a group.
So she got them from somebody else, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so in a hearsay kind of.
1 second.
I don't want to say hearsay, but you got it through a third source.
My husband is back really quickly. He said a couple of action items. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just wondered if we could get a report filed so we start having somewhat of a paper trail on this, that if the FBI wants that, number one, and number two, if we could get a consultation with the Internet Division, I think that would be helpful just to see what they say or get their feedback. I feel like the more options we have, the better. So, like, if we could get those two things, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it.
So a report, we usually do a report for crimes. I got to talk to my sergeant about this. If it's, I mean, we document everything, but if it doesn't come to the point, we don't necessarily do a report for it.
Not a police report, just like an incident report.
Yeah. I'd definitely get you that. And as far as somebody contacting you, once again, that's going to be up to the information that I give them and what they got to say for reply. And if they, I'm not even sure, because our cyber guy is tucked into computers all day long per se. That, I mean, few people know who he is. So. Yeah, like our SVU detectives are the same way. They're in their little offices and their little holes, and we see them once in a great while,
Yeah.
But I'll see if there's a way if somebody can make a phone call to explain things better than what I can.
I just want to like the more the more brains behind this, like just to see, like, I just want to see if there's other options, or if they could recommend something that we don't know.
Right. Yeah. They deal with this stuff all the time, so they would know where the lines are drawn, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those two things I think would be really helpful.
Okay.
Get some paperwork that that we're concerned about it, and then just even a consultation with the internet people to say, to tell us, like, what are some options, or
Yeah.
I mean, they might say there's nothing here, go to the FBI, or I mean, whatever.
Right. And they probably work with the FBI as well, so they'd probably be able to get you in touch with the right person as well.
Yeah, exactly. That would be great.
So I'll see what I can do here in the next 10, 15 minutes or so.
Thank you,
We
officer.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm sorry if there's anything to interrupt you there. I apologize.
I'm just trying to think of hard data. So the text messages are from somebody kind of thing.
Emailed to us, and then emailed to us after that person confronted you in the courthouse, and then the Proton email came directly to our account.
So that wasn't forwarded. That was
directly to our account.
From
the Proton encrypted. The person that's hiding person that
Oh,
sent it
so
just to everyone.
directly, so you don't know who it was from. It's just
Correct. We don't know
Okay.
who it was from, but they sent it to us,
okay.
and they said.
But that
we
was the
have
same-
blind copied all of the.
That was
large media.
that was the same thing, saying they have dirt on you, pretty much. In so many words, the same. They have dirt on you, and
Your texts are going to be released.
Did
They
they-
said shown in your
They
text.
said your text. Your
Yep,
text
yep.
will be released.
but they didn't say your text will be released if you don't do this, and they didn't say your text will be released at this point.
More like Hidden True Lies, all of it will come to light.
So they just seem to be upset and are saying it could be released.
All of them
They
are
will be
BCC'd on
released.
this email, and your text messages will prove it.
Right.
So they're saying
Certain
we're-
people are BCC'd, yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't know who.
Well, they
Be-
say who they BCC'd.
Who are they BCC? That's stupid to say they BCC people.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
That
just
doesn't
like
make
we're
sense.
trapped.
That doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't make any sense. I agree with you,
But
but
when I talked to Gigi today, she goes, "Well, the first email came from a Proton," and I was like, "You're fucking bullshitting me." Like, cause
So let's go-
Yeah.
I want to go out and talk to the sergeant. So that email basically says, in so many words, you're full of lies, blah, 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 the truth come out, blah, blah, blah.
we're gonna release your text.
That's it.
We're gonna release your text publicly.
But they didn't say we're going to release it on Monday, we're going to release it if you do this, we're going to release it if you don't do this, nothing like
Yeah.
that. They just said we're going to release it.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you, officer.
Oh, that's your husband? No, I'm Henderson too, not Metro.